and welcome to another Career Konnect Science Communication interview. Today I have with me Aditya, and he's a science writer and has his PhD in neuroscience where he worked in zebrafish and hypoxic stress. Hello, Aditya.
Hello.
So before we get started for you to tell us about your science communication journey, can you please tell our audience how did you get interested in science communication in the first place?
How I got interested in science communication, there is no direct, straight answer. Um, I have always been interested in science, and I did not know that science communication as a term existed. In fact, when I started doing my PhD, no, before I started doing my PhD, when I was working in IGIB, I started thinking that if I ever have my own lab, I will hire someone, a, a, a PR representative, a public relations representative, because I did not know that that also comes under Scicomm. Um, that is one thing. I've always been interested in science. I've been interested in talking to people, and the fact that eventually I started writing and I started writing stories and poems. That's when I decided to amalgamate the both of them and thought that this is a good way of doing it. And also I don't remember whether I mentioned earlier. Uh, I am actually admittedly pretty bad at academic writing. If I have to write an academic paper, the the amount of jargon, amount of the kind of restrictions that there are, and how away from layman terms that we have to do, I am I'm fairly bad at it. But writing for other people, for non-science people, for children, and so writing stories comes very naturally to me. I think is that is one of the primary reasons why I came to Scicomm.
Nice, very interesting. And now that you actually do science communication with your science writing work, why are you doing it? What are you passionate about science communication?
I eventually want to become an author. I want to be a science fiction writer. Uh, but other than that, I I personally just like letting people know that this is the kind of science that we do. Um, and there is also this, I think at least where I am coming from right now, I always felt that the people around us, I'm situated in Hyderabad in India, and I have, when someone asks me what exactly happens in CCMB where you work, um, I really felt that the people in the vicinity, in the city, should at least know what you're doing. It's not nice that you have a research institute right next to you and you don't know what is happening there. Uh, so that's where it started, and I think eventually I don't have very big plans. I just want to be like maybe Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan is a very big man, of course, but be a researcher who also does who writes about science and writes stories, and that's it.
Yeah, nice. That's good. I mean, it's good motivation to just, tell the public what's happening around there, around the corner, of course. So once you figure that out, what your passion is for science communication and what your motivation behind is, what were your first steps to actually get started in that field? How did you start becoming a science writer? How can you describe your science communication journey?
So initially, I was not having a plan. I just did what I felt like doing. Uh, I started writing stories uh, in my spare time. But I am fortunate enough to have a science communication officer in our institute. And I went up to her. Her name is Somdatta. I went up to her and I said, I still did not know what science communication was. I always looked at it as academic writing and popular science writing. So I told her that I want to learn how to do popular science writing. in terms of that is what Scicomm is. So, and I asked her if she will be able to mentor me, and she said yes. So mm, eventually, I started writing for her. So we have a popular science website in for our institute. It's called Scicomm, and we have a lot of students write popular science articles there. I started writing for that, and I also started attending science journalism workshops and zine making workshops. Uh, and also there was another workshop which was uh, science storytelling using children's storybooks. So I really like them, and I thought that this is a very this is this place makes me comfortable. This is what I would like to do. So that's how I so initially it was all very haphazard, but slowly when I started seeing what other science communicators do, I I'm still although I'm still trying to find a niche for myself. Right now, I'm still writing journalistic pieces or science communication pieces. I organize science meets, but it's not something which is very unique to me. I am still in that space. I'm still waiting for it, but I am not in a hurry.
Okay. And you're also part of a writers club, if I remember correctly. What's the goal of this club and what are you doing?
Oh, so Right Club, it has been running for if you give one more month, it'll be 10 years that it's been running. It started in 2015 when there was this bunch of writers who decided to just get together and help each other become better writers. And that would mean giving each other very harsh feedback. But of course, it does not give as much harsh feedback now. But the goal is basically that none of us are actually professional writers, but we all read and we all write in our spare time. Uh, so based on what we understand, what we learn from what we have read, and what we understand from what we have written throughout uh, the past few years, we give feedback to each other, very informal feedback about how uh, any piece can be improved. So when we hold meetings once every 2 weeks, we have a host. That host decides the topic, and we have multiple hosts, and uh, we have as many hosts as there can be, and they bring their own perspective. In fact, day after tomorrow, we have another meet. It's called To Be Continued, and I really don't know what the host wants to do. Once I go there, I will get to know what exactly the host wants us to do, and then we write. So we have a dedicated 1 hour of writing and 1 hour of feedback. So whatever we write, it's all the first draft. We get feedback on the first draft on how to improve it, and yeah. So it's not like a class. It's not a formal course that okay, your teacher is telling you that you should not do this, you should do this, you should
Mm.
not do this. It's more like your own peers are telling you how how to improve it, and it's up to you whether you want to take the feedback or not. That the But even if you don't want to take the feedback, the very fact that you are sitting down with other writers and writing and listening to their pieces, that very act will make you a better writer. Maybe not as much as uh, a formal education might, but this is a very informal group. We make friends. We have a lot of spin-off groups. But yeah, so just the
Nice.
fact that we write so much makes us better writers.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a very nice supportive network and accountability. Very, very important in that setting as well, I guess. It's really cool. Really.
Uh, we've had, like I said, there were spin-off groups. So there were some people who were interested in writing in mother tongue Telugu. So they started a separate Telugu book club.
Mhm.
There were some people who were interested in parallel cinema. So they started a parallel cinema club. There are people who were interested in uh, Palestinian literature. So they started a Palestinian literature club. So we had some 4 or 5 groups which have stemmed from our Write Club, and they are thriving. Uh, our so it's not just that you get to become better writers, but we get to become better writers, but also that you also find your tribe
Mhm.
and diversify and do something with them.
Nice, really interesting. And the last time we chatted, you also mentioned so-called Zine workshops. What are these, and how did you get started participating in those?
Oh, so I did not know what exactly a zine was until I went to the first workshop, and I just went because it seemed like something which it, I don't know, it just seemed interesting, so I went, and it turns out that zines or Zines, I think it is pronounced Zines too. Um, it had actually started in the US uh, as a way for Black women to impart knowledge on each other. So when publication was restricted, when there are editors and whatever capitalistic ideals they had, which would exclude some section of the society from giving their views out, they would start writing in something very informal and easily reproducible, like in a piece of paper, which can be folded, and then you just take photocopies of it and spread it around. So they remove the, I mean, although it's not the formal definition of it. They remove the mega from the magazine and make it zine, uh, which does not have any restrictions of being able to satisfy an editor, being able to satisfy um, a a publishing house, and these are small ones which uh, you use to just give information to each other. And it has gone into various fields, and it has also come into science field. And science zine, if you want, I'll share some with you after this meeting is over. Science zines are very informal, and many of them have a lot of illustrations uh, to make it easier for public to to understand science. And one of the major things is that it's easy to reproduce. So we have something called a zine fold. I wish I had kept it with me right now. It's a piece of paper. You can just take photocopies of it, fold it so that it will become like a small booklet. So you can take hundreds of copies of it, just fold it and give it away to people. I really like the concept of it, and I started applying it to my own research. I made a zine for my research, and it's very cheap, easy to make. So when I used to go to conferences, I used to give these one zine to each person so they know what my research is, and after they leave, also they remember what my research is.
Nice,
So,
really cool.
very effective way of communicating it. I'll share some with you.
Yeah. And now, how is your own science, your own you research feeding into all of this? What kind of formats, what kind of content are you producing when you write? And how is all of this also fitting with your zine workshops?
Uh, so right now, although I am trained as a neuroscientist and a bioinformatician, so I usually write uh, about research that is in the biological field. Uh, Although I don't really stick to neuroscience, I write about papers which come out from our institute. But I also, along with this, I'm also a volunteer for a group called Superheroes Against Superbugs, which is an initiative to raise awareness against antimicrobial resistance. So I have written articles about them. I I write articles about the kind of research that happens in CCMP. Um, but also the kind of work that I do, it does not allow me to just write. I organize various events, outreach events for children majorly, although we try to do it for adults. But we are majorly focused on children and try to uh, reduce the doubts that they have or clear the doubts that they have about the sciences. Uh, Particularly my research, if I remember your question correctly, my research has helped me understand. I think the major thing is that I am able to read and understand the essence of the papers and report it accurately rather than making up things which I don't understand. Uh, Also, because of my experience in doing research and my experience in dealing with science students and scientists, it's easier for me to approach scientists. Uh, I don't have to. I mean, me 5 years ago would probably have thought that if I don't understand this, how will I go and approach a scientist? I don't know. But now I'm free to go approach anybody, the mail anyone, and treat them as equals. And I don't have to feel embarrassed that I don't know because I know that this is my field of expertise, and I don't have to worry about that not being my field of expertise. This is one thing that really affected me because before doing my PhD, I probably would have been very insecure that this part of information is not known to me, and I wouldn't feel comfortable talking to someone and directly telling them that I don't. So I would probably just beat myself up. Uh, by after doing my PhD, I realized that you cannot be an expert on everything. So you be an expert in your field, and then you freely approach whoever you want. That's where I think it affects.
Nice, really nice. Thank you for all of these insights, all these inspirations. Really good. So, one last question for the audience. Which advice would you give to aspiring science communicators who want to get started in the field and maybe become a science writer themselves? What's your advice?
My advice would be to do what comes naturally to you and makes you happy. You uh, you you don't have to think, okay, if I want to become a science writer, I need to publish these many science journalistic pieces, or I have to do these many things. Or if you want to start a science podcast, you don't have to think, uh, I need to do this set. The science communication, luckily, uh, is fairly new. So there is no formal guidelines. There is no MBA that you can do or a PhD that you can, any degree that you can do. So basically, you do anything and then do what comes naturally to you. Eventually, people will start recognizing you, and you will have your own unique set of skills, which yeah, so other people will learn from you.
Nice, very nice.
No pressure.
No pressure. I think that's the key word here as well. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice tag. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you,
And I
Sarah.
wish you all the best for your science communication journey. And thanks for your time.
Thank you. I'll share you some links.